All right. Uh, Good morning, everybody. Good morning to those of you online. If you're already there, you know what to do. Share the live as we move along here this morning. Um, Let me say good morning to StateX4. Let me say good morning to Andrea Morgan. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope everybody's hearing me. Let me see if I have that thing properly fixed there because, okay. Yeah, I think we got it fixed right there. Let me just make sure everything is working very well. Um, okay. Yeah, it looks like we got everything going here. Yeah, so let me say good morning to Shada, um, Virgil, Powell Wright. Good day to you. Um, Anan001, um, Wendy and Victor Trinidad. Good morning. Shepherd's News of Elohim. Good morning to you. Um, Julie Jordan. Good morning to you. Okay. Sharon O says greetings and blessings to everyone. The Comfort Zone says good morning. Um, well, Virgil is saying that hopes everyone on the live is having a good morning. Well, it's not a good morning for a lot of people today. Caribbean crypto and forex trading says morning. It's not a good morning for a lot of people. Got a couple messages this morning from people who are stuck in the US. You know, I want somebody on the live to explain to me, how can you help a 40-year-old with the brain of a 12-year-old? I don't know. Somebody, anybody who could help me out, help me out. Tell me, how are you going to help a 40-year-old with the brains of a 12-year-old? Is that possible? Is there any way you can help an individual like that? Somebody on the live, try and explain that to me. Try and explain that to me. Julie Jordan is in Trinidad. Wendy R says good morning. Pam says peace and love. Olavine Campbell says good morning from New York. UKL 5024. What is the Ukrainian plane doing in the Caribbean and why did it take off from Barbados and disappear from tracking? Yes, we talk about all of that today, my friend. Talk about all of that. Um, I want to know how you can help. I want to know how you can help someone 40 years old, but thinking like a 12-year-old. Have the brain of a 12-year-old. You know what a 12-year-old do, right? So it's difficult. It's difficult. That is the same situation that we are finding ourselves in right now with this current problem that we have here in this Caribbean. A lot of people who are 50 years old and 40 years old and think like 12-year-olds. It's just absolutely ridiculous and disgusting. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I find it very, very hard to talk to people of that ilk. It's very, very disturbing. But such is life. I told a gentleman about a month ago, there will come a time this year that if you're in the US, you will be stuck there for a while and can't get out. He says that I was scaremongering. Of course, here comes the shutdown of the government. And now A lot of people can't get out of the United States of America. Why can't they get out? This morning, of course, thousands of flights have been canceled because of the government shutdown. So the same gentleman called me back and said he was trying to get a flight out. Now he's stuck here, and the airline is saying to him they can't tell him when he'll be able to leave the United States of America because the flight that he's on to the Caribbean has been canceled because of the government shutdown. Can't find workers for the control towers. FAA grounding out of flights. Well, you have to deal with that yourself because, as they say in the Caribbean, who don't hear certainly will feel. And so this morning, a lot of people wake up to the news that a lot of flights were canceled out of the US. A lot of flights were canceled out of the US this morning. A lot of flights. Matter of fact, over 1,000 flights across the country, across the United States of America, were canceled today. Today, as we speak, canceled. The FAA says it is looking for ways to deal with the staffing shortages. Of course, that is exacerbated by the US government shutdown. The US, of course, will not mind its own business, wants to peep in everybody's bowl. What do we have this morning? Thousands and thousands of people stuck in the United States of America will not be able to leave because airlines have been grounded, flights have been canceled because there's no one to work in the tower. You see what I'm talking about? Well, that's where we are with the United States of America. Let me see if I can get into the chat here. Somebody says, to help a 40-year-old thinking like a 12-year-old, you have to send them back to train from where they left off learning. Absolutely. Powell says it's the same problem we're having in the government in Jamaica. That's why no vision is coming out. 12-year-old into 40-year-olds. Government shut down people in long line waiting for food because no food stamps come through. Oh, I tell you. Single parents are living lack of food stamps, SNAP benefits, Section 8 housing, they are looting. Strain. Question is somebody censoring the comments. I put the link to the plane and it gone. Yeah, YouTube is typically removing links right now. If you place them in the comments section, they're seeing them as spam comments. That's what they're viewing them as now, and they're cracking down on a lot of them. That's what they're doing right now. So whatever you put in there, it will get out. It will not remain. Okay? They're seeing them as spam. A lot of spam. That's what they say. Remember why they are leaders, because many people can only be led. You can't lead people without, you can't mislead people without common sense. You can lead them. So Ricardo is very right. You cannot mislead people who does not have common sense. You can lead them if they don't have common sense. You can't mislead them. They already don't have common sense. Sharon O says it's only to get worse. Anan says links are only for moderators. All right. It's gonna get worse. So these are so like I said, persons would have called me this morning and said to me that they can't get out of the United States because their flights are canceled. Well, that's what it is. Flights are canceled. And so that is what the problem is. This is where we are. This is where we are right now with all of the flights that have been canceled in these cities. You see them? So if you have people living in Florida, flights being canceled here. I don't know how many of you have people living in Florida. Some in Texas. If you're in New York, a lot have been canceled in New York. All across the United States, look at that. California, Texas, all over the place. About 40 cities. 40 of the busiest airports in the United States of America right now. Flights have been canceled. Yeah, until they have people who can man these airports. So when I got the messages this morning from some people who told me that you were right about this thing gonna happen later on in the year, I said to them, well, I follow trends, I see what is taking place, and I bring the information to you. Hopefully that you will use it to your advantage. So those of you who are in the empire right now will have to remain in the empire for a while. So that's what it is. That is what it is right there. So the gentleman says he was in New York. He has his two children and he wanted to get out. And now he's telling him that he can't go anywhere because the flight has been cancelled. And so the transportation secretary says that the flight reductions were necessary to ensure safety. So what will happen is that your flight will be delayed, and there will come a time when apparently they will probably put back your flight on because they will be able to get more persons to work, and some flights will go back to normal. But as of now, a lot of flights are being cancelled. 40 major airports that see flights reduced by 4%. So there are no air traffic controllers, and you don't want a lot of mishaps in the skies where people have to man planes like in New York. That could become very nasty. Now, American Airlines expects to cancel 220 flights per day. 220 flights per day. So if you're in Babylon, US, you will remain in Babylon, US for a while. United will cut 200. Delta will cut 117. Southwest scraps 120 according to the airlines. So if you're in Babylon, US right now, you're going to remain in Babylon, US for a while. Um, yeah. I mean, when you have people working to man aircraft, serious thing, eh? You can't have air traffic controllers working and supervising people without pay. That's a dangerous game you're playing with. Very, very dangerous game you're playing with. Right? And Shepherd's News is right. It's a matrix. The US is a strange country with even stranger politics, a land of extreme right and left versus right politics, and they eat bleached chicken. Listen, I said yesterday, a man called me yesterday and he said to me, why is it, you're saying that the US fomenting war every Monday morning? Was I wrong to say that? No, I wasn't wrong to say that. The US is the only country right now on the face of planet Earth that is fomenting war every Monday morning. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And a lot of you here can agree with me that the US is one of the first countries, or maybe the only one, every Monday morning, every blessed Monday morning, fomenting war. Yes, that's what they do. That's what they love. They live by that. They love war. They love war. So, as I was saying, somebody says bleach chicken, growth hormone, meat, pus milk, etc., and other stuff. What you are telling them that I don't, somebody said, what is it? Is Ricardo said that? Yeah, Ricardo. Ricardo is asking me if what I'm saying to them is um, Tomino. Yes, yes. I don't know if he's talking to me. Talking about if he's talking to somebody else. I'm not sure. But yeah, the cargo plane. Yeah, they are warmongers. Yes. So as I was saying, yes, the United States of America is the only country on earth that's foment wars every Monday morning. I mean, if you go to Google, the same Google that a lot of us, I tell you to use it and use it for the betterment, okay? And you put a simple question in there: how many wars have the U.S. fought? I will tell you, they fought 12 major wars. You understand what I'm saying to you? 12 major wars. Okay? A lot of it. And if you go and you put in how many wars, let's look for the other one. I was trying to get something on China to see because they say China is a big bad bully. Um, yeah, they've been just saying that they've been involved in some wars throughout history, but they never gave the exact number. But for sure, they can give you how many the US has been fighting or have fought. Major ones. But anyway, right. So let's get back to what is happening here. Somebody has to enforce order in the world that we live in, and if it's not the United States, somebody else will do it. The only person who can enforce order in this planet Earth is the Most High, not United States of America. You can't enforce order by having wars. You'll only have more wars as we see what is happening right now. You understand? Yeah? This is difficult. This is really difficult. You can't enforce order in a world. If you enforce order by war, you will only end up with more war. So that's something you have to look at. All right? As a matter of fact, if you look at the history of the United States of America, they don't enforce order anywhere. They create chaos. They create chaos. And everywhere they go, after they leave, the country is worse off than before. That is a fact of life. Do you understand what I'm saying? If if you decide and you have a child and you decide that you are going to beat the child, I don't want to use this kind of word here because they might pull the plug on this channel. But if you're going to, the only way you think you can enforce discipline on that child is to abuse the child. Note the word abuse, not beat, not discipline, but abuse the child. Right? What do you think will happen after a while with that child? What do you think will happen after a while with that child? You see, you can't go everywhere and drop bombs and think that you can cancel problems or things that you see as problems. They're not necessarily problems. You see them as problems because of what you want in this world and what you want to ascertain. You see them as problems, right? If you think that by dropping bombs, you will get rid of the problems, you only will create more problems. That's what happens. Wars don't end wars. War starts more wars. You start a war today, it doesn't end. It continues. It continues. And even when you think it is done, the major war, what you end up with is a society with a whole other fraction of different people within the same society having internal conflicts. So it never ends. That is what happens. And that is what the America is good at. Fomenting chaos and confusion that never ends. For them, it is good business because the industrial military complex is bigger than the wicked pharmaceutical industry. And when you have people like Lindsey Graham, who is an ultimate war hawk, who smiles when he talks about killing people, you know. Ay, ay, ay. You understand? So if you think dropping a bomb somewhere will end something, it wouldn't end it. It will cause more problems. You see the children them. You see the children them down that You see that. You see the children them down in Gaza. Them children who growing up in that district there. You think they'll ever have peace over there? Ain't gonna have no peace over there. Them children, the bombs, seeing bombs drop from somewhere. What do you think will happen to them children there? Hmm? That place can't be out of any peace. They ain't gonna have no peace over there. Ain't no peace going to be there. People could ball all they want about peace, 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 peace. Ain't sudden destruction is what's going to happen over there. If every Monday morning you blazing guns and dropping bomb on people, you think they're not going to react? Do you think they're not going to react to you? They are going to react to you. The US is long past the time. You understand? Their time has long passed for what the Most High said has been a blessed nation. They're no longer blessed. They are no longer a blessed nation. That time has long gone. They have done everything reprehensible under the sun. Their time is literally up. Literally up. They have done everything reprehensible under the sun. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And those who find pleasure in still worshiping a dying empire, you all have another thing coming as well. They're in the prophecies. Their time is literally up. Like literally up. A dying empire. A lamb-like beast. You understand what I'm saying to you? A lot of us can't get our heads out of the sky when it comes to the United States of America. A lot of us can't get our heads out of the sky when it comes to the United States of America and these empires. You know, I think somebody said yesterday to me that you should literally stop trying to educate people who just don't have the capacity, right? Yeah, someone said that to me yesterday. They said you must stop educating people who do not have the capacity to understand anything. That's what the person said to me. He says Caribbean people in general do not have the capacity to understand anything because they came from the foreparents of slaves. Their foreparents have been slaves, and slaves were only taught one thing, that is to obey their masters. Until this day, even with what they call the so-called independence, Caribbean people find it difficult to get out of that sort of bondage. Now it's a mind bondage. And he says, I listen to you from time to time. I think you're doing an excellent job in trying to educate the masses, but I think you need to stop trying to educate them because Caribbean people do not have the capacity to understand anything really. He said they do not have the capacity to change because they only know one thing, which was slavery. And slavery teaches people to obey their masters. That's what they said to me. I don't know. I don't know. That's what they said. That's what the person said to me. I don't know if the person is correct. I really don't know if the person is correct in saying that. I don't want to believe that the person is correct. I don't want to believe that the person is correct. To say that Caribbean people are so daft that the only thing they know is slavery and the only thing they know is to obey their master, so they will not change, and you're wasting your time. And that you're wasting your time. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if the person I don't know if it's a fact. I really don't know. I can't tell you guys. I see a lot of guys commenting here, but I can't say if it's true. I don't know. That's what he says to me. He says, listen to me, brother. He said, brother, listen to me. I see you educating a lot of people, but they do not have the capacity to change because the only thing they know is slavery, and slavery taught them to obey their masters. And their masters will continue to be Britain and the United States of America. That's what the pastor said to me. Everything that the American does is good and you must not speak about it. Everything that Britain does is good and you must not speak about it. That's what he said to me. So I don't know. I mean, if that is how he feels, that is how he feels. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I told him I don't think so. I still believe that there are a lot of people with the capacity to learn in the Caribbean who want to learn, who are willing to give up the overthrows from colonial masters and think on their own and who see life a different way. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, let me go in the chat and see what people are saying. If anybody want to come in and talk, they can come in. There's the link there, and you can come in and talk on the chat if you want to. Let me go and see what people are saying here. Vinci says, obey their masters and read the Bible. Ricardo says, political parties rotate in the US, but the ideology remains the same. That is quite correct, Ricardo. Political parties do change in the US, but their ideology remains the same. What I say about the United States of America is that the parties, the Democrat and the Republicans, they are what I call, how do I put this? Different wings of the same bird. The Democrat and the Republican, different wings of the same bird. That's what they are in the United States of America. Different wings of the same bird. So don't fall for the Democrats or the Republicans. Different wings of the same bird. In the end, it's America, and what we want to achieve as an empire has nothing to do with the party. Don't get tricked. Don't get sidetracked. They may do it in a different format, but they're all the same. Trump is deporting. Obama was called the deporter in chief. It just means that you didn't hear much about Obama during his deportation because the media in the US tend to favor Democrats more than the Republicans. So they would cover that down. But they're all the same. Different wings of the same bird. Don't get caught up with the Republican and the Democrats. And always remember, when you vote for somebody, whatever crimes they commit while they're in office, whatever atrocities they commit while they're in office, it's on your hand as well because you're the one that placed them in office. I want you all to remember that. Spice Trick, good morning to you. They understand, yeah, they want the unusual truth, okay. Yes, it's a fact. People are still asleep and they want to remain like that. So, Mr. Thomas, top of the morning to you. Mental capacity, yeah, yeah. Caribbean baby boomers tend to have this trait, and many of them are very hostile towards those who try to educate others. Statex made a very good point as well. He says Caribbean people are quite intelligent, have ability to critical thought. The problem is we will consume all of the US movies. US is always the hero. We love Nike, KFC, Netflix, etc. You know, I spoke about this the other day. I said, why is it that we just continue to consume this abundance of US, whatever you call it? I was looking for a word, but I can't find it now. But the US, we just consume everything, all of the movies. You notice in the Caribbean, there's not even a channel really that talks about probably the history of the Caribbean. You realize there's nobody who really talks about the struggles of Caribbean. There's not a channel dedicated really to what is going on in the Caribbean. Do you realize that? It's just everybody consumes American stuff day after day, day after day. At the time, I mean, it's just, I mean, I don't mind if you look at some events in the world through a news or something to figure out, well, what is happening here or there, even though those mainstream media really, they are more of just planning lies and telling you a lot of foolishness. But people sit down and consume a lot of Netflix, a lot of Instagram crap, a lot of TikTok nonsense, a lot of AI foolishness. Everything is the US. I don't know. I mean, that is why we are the way we are. And every child, because of the consuming of these things, by the time they hit 13, they want the first trip to the US. Or 14, they pressure their parents to take out loans to get trip to the US. And after that, it's downhill. But, that's people's business. That's not mine. Let me continue. Someone says they prefer to watch game shows instead of nourishing their brains and post con on you for improving yourself. But that's another problem that we have in the Caribbean. Um, a lot of people really do prefer to watch games, go on these ludicrous things and ping all day and then not nourishing their brains and then they post con on you for improving yourself. That is correct, Anand. And what it happens is that after a while, we have a lot of depression and anxiety right here in the Caribbean because of the things that the children are consuming. It was just last week, a principal was mentioning to me that she did not know that there was so much depression and anxiety in children in the Caribbean. It's just awful. And she was asking me what is really the reason for this. I said, you want to know the reason for it? It's right in your hand. She looked down in her hand. She had a phone in her hand. I said, that's right. Exactly what you have in your hand is half of the reason and three-quarters of the reason for the depression and anxiety in children today in the Caribbean. And parents have to take some responsibility for that. I don't know. Anyway, good morning from the Commonwealth of Dominica. Good job on this to you are educating the Caribbean people. Blessings. Good morning to Glenda Batiste in the island of um, Dominica. You know, yeah, not everyone, not everyone, not everyone. Yeah. Yes. Um, Someone says because in the United States we have a strong Caribbean American population, some of us have no choice. I Auto 718, these are the things that really irks me when I hear people say we have no choice. Have no choice. Will you jump off a bridge and commit? You know, you know what I'm talking about. Would you go on a bridge and just jump off and commit you know, some unalive situation? Would you do that? Hmm? Would you go on the a 15-story building and think that if you jump off that gravity will somehow hold you up? I think it will do. It will pull you down. Hmm? Do you think that you're an angel and you will fly? You have wings, as they say. They say angels have wings. Do you think you will be able to fly if you jump off the building? Hmm? I hate when people say you don't have a choice. Some of us have no choice. Like some of us have no choice. What do you mean we don't have choice? Everybody have choices in life. And all of the choices you make have consequences. I don't know. Some people say you have no choice. Some of us have no choice. Everybody have a choice. I get that out of your vocabulary. Get it out of your vocabulary. That is the reason why we are the way we are. Because people say we have no choice, you just have to bow. I don't subscribe to that foolishness. Anyway, yeah, a lot of people are being bombarded and their brains are being fried by the international media. That's one. Some so let me say good morning to Wonderfully Made. Good morning to you as well. Z News. People are brainwashed by white supremacy. The Caribbean nations are separated by water and distance. Unity is very difficult, yet they speak the same English. Um, the Caribbean islands, yes, they're separated by water, not much of a distance. Barbados to St. Vincent, maybe 35 miles by a plane, or probably, I know, they say 100 miles, something apart. Grenada, maybe 30 something miles. It's not far. Yes, the water is there, but in this day and age, those things are not anything anymore to keep distance by people. Keep distance, keep us at a distance. And yes, they speak. A lot of them speak English. The problem with the Caribbean is that because our history has been one of slavery, domination by these powers, we have not yet eradicated that from our minds. Hence the reason why up to now, even with CARICOM and the very notion that we can be one people, we still can't. We say it, but we still can't achieve it because they have left us with a legacy of ruling over each other. So hence, when people become leaders, they think of the country as a plantation. That's one of the main problems that we are having. Um, yes. So yeah, well, Caribbean people do have an understanding when it comes to that. Um, and of course, we have cognitive dissonance. All right. Right. So he makes a very good point here. He says the current population of the United States is 44,685,335. That's an intimidating number. Yeah. Now, that's enough to be a block and a very powerful block. But like I said, what they have done to us is they have taught us to be the leaders to be slave masters over their people. Nobody wants to come together and become a serious block. Everybody wants to rule on a plantation. That's the problem that we are having. Here comes someone called Chef Don and says, "You hate US but Ralph loves US dollars. You hate USA, but Ralph loves US dollars." Right here is the mindset of someone who may be 60 but yet has a okay, let me leave that alone. I don't know if you're speaking to me directly to say that I hate the United States of America. Hate is a very strong word. I do not hate anybody. Neither do I hate the United States of America. That would be foolish of me to hate anybody. I haven't created anyone. I can't hate people. What I don't like is the way they operate. And everyone have a right to choose what they want. So I don't hate anybody. I hate no man whatsoever. I despise the way people operate, but I don't hate them. I despise the way they operate, but I don't hate them. I can't hate people. It's not in my DNA. You have to get that 15-year-old child thinking out of your head, Chef Don. It says the schools in the Caribbean is not teaching our tourists well. We all know that by now. I can tell you that for a fact. We do not have a strong sense of self, so we get easily led astray. You see, the problem with me is that a lot of people say that they do not like me, and I don't have a problem with that. They probably love to hate me. They love me. They love me so much that they hate me, and they love to hate me. And it's the reason why they come back to listen to me all the time. And it's the reason why they send messages to me despite the hate they have for me. They love me. They don't like me, they love me. But the reason why they love me but they can't take themselves is because I will tell you things straight on. I won't color code anything. I will tell you as it is. You see, a lot of people want to be politically correct because, as I said, a lot of people are afraid to lose, and I will say this forever. A lot of Caribbean people who hate to lose their visas. They can't see themselves without walking down Manhattan and Fifth Avenue. They go crazy if they can't do that. That's one of their biggest dreams, to walk the streets of Manhattan. And if they can't do that, they virtually go crazy because of all these marketing that the US has put into come to my country. And so people don't like me because I'm not politically correct. You see, politically correct is people who come and tell you every day, hey guys, what do you think about this? Hey guys, what do you talk about that? They don't want to give their opinions because they think if they give their opinions, a lot of people hate them, despise them, and they may lose what they have, their personal, So that's why people don't like me. People like to live in la la land. They like to be comforted like a baby. But if you're 40 and 50, you shouldn't be comforted like a baby. You should be able to handle the truth and handle reality. But a lot of us at the age of 60 can't even handle reality still. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. I tell you. I have to laugh sometimes. It's that thousands of young Americans give their lives in world wars for you to enjoy the freedom you have in the Caribbean. Oh my God. The individual who said yesterday to me that some people in the Caribbean don't have the capacity to understand is really maybe true. I don't know. I think I'm going to come off of this live right now. I think I'm going to come off. I don't think it makes sense for me to continue. First thing you have to ask yourself is first thing the first thing you have to ask yourself is Trevdan, is who told the Americans, the young Americans, to go to war, and why are they going to war? Who started these wars? Why they started these wars? Why are they sending young people to their deaths for their benefit? Hmm? Why are they sending young Americans to their death for their benefit? Has nothing to do with no peace in the Caribbean and you enjoying any peace in any Caribbean. Ask yourself who's starting these wars and why they're starting them and sending young Americans to their deaths. Who's benefiting from young Americans going to their deaths in wars that have been fabricated? Like, for instance, let's look at 9/11. You really think, after all, that they should have sent so many young Americans to Iraq to end up with trauma in their brains? Huh? Do you think that they should have done that? Hmm? You have to ask why, Trev Don. You're sounding like a 60-year-old with a 15-year-old brain. You have to ask the question why. You have to ask why. Because some of them were not necessary. Not necessary. For instance, a lot of young people went to Iraq and suffered. You know what they have today? PTSD. They suffered from Agent Orange. They have cancers in their bones and they can't get over it. Some of them been left to suffer. Left to suffer. You know why? Because America sent them to their deaths for the war machine to become rich. You ever heard about Halliburton? You know who's in charge of Halliburton? You know why they create wars every Monday morning? Iraq was a farce. Kill your own people in New York by bringing down buildings and then said that who is not with me is against me and send people to their deaths in Iraq. That's what they did. And then come back to tell you 10 years after he had no weapons of mass destruction. That's what they did. Tony Blair joined the United States of America. And came back to tell the world, I am sorry. There was no weapons of mass destruction. Don't come here to tell me no foolishness about people enjoy freedom because thousands of young Americans go to their deaths. America send young Americans to their deaths because the military industrial complex wants to forever be rich. I'll have to place you among those who cannot and who do not have the mental capacity to understand and to change because you believe everything the empire does. is right. You're among those. I'll have to put you them in that grouping. Let us continue. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah. Says I'm missing the point. He's very misguided, very, very misguided. And if you want to challenge me, come on the live, click on that because I will not be reading any more of your comments because I find them to be just stuff. That's exactly what the individual was telling me about. So I'll have to put you in that bracket. I can't read any more of your comments. So basically, if you want to speak, you can come on the live and talk. I don't know. Very misguided. Very, very misguided. Very misguided. Very, very misguided. Now, now here is this. Here is this. Here is this. Let me see if I can find this one here. Here's this another one here. I don't know if he's speaking to me. You cannot change U.S. policy by running your mouth. Another one again. Another one again. I don't know. I don't know if Otto is talking to me. I don't know. Otto, if you want to come on the live and speak to me, you can click on the link and come in. All right? Because I don't want to go through that foolishness this morning. I don't want to go through that foolishness this morning. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. The individual was right. There's some people who do not have the mental capacity to change because no, they can't. They're not distracting me, Purple Royal. I love when they bring their foolishness because when they come with it, this is how I get to expound and what I really want to say to Caribbean people. They can't distract me. Absolutely will not distract me from what I'm doing. I'm happy that they're here. So when they speak their utter rubbish and foolishness, I can educate more people. That's what I want them. I want them to continue talking whole morning, that I can educate more people. But they are part of the grouping that have their heads up the asses of the United States so far up that they don't understand what is going on. Literally shitting in their faces. And they take it in and say, oh, it tastes like baby food. Right? Tastes like baby food. Tastes very good to them. I'm not here to give anybody baby food. Absolutely none. Absolutely no baby food here. You can't take what is in this kitchen. Get out, leave, and go on the lives that make you feel comfortable. You hear me? Go on them that makes you feel very comfortable. Over here, there's a lot of uncomfortable truths will be dispensed here. You can't take it. Leave the kitchen. Now, let's continue. Oh, my friend Afro Grenadian is in the house. How are you doing this morning, my friend? How are you doing this morning? You see, there was something called 9/11. And in 9/11, in 9/11, we had some people going to Iraq. A lot of young people went to Iraq. They went to Iraq. And when they went to Iraq, they lost their lives because the Americans and the American government, Bush at the time, sold them a lie. He said that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. And who is not with me is against me. And they went in there, bombed the hell out of Iraq. Saddam Hussein was killed. They brought in the Patriot Act to take away the freedoms of Americans piece by piece. And then 10 years after, Tony Blair came back and said, I am sorry. There were no weapons of mass destruction. What we have in the Caribbean today is people like these people who are weapons of mass destruction in the Caribbean. These people, some of them on the line, weapons of mass destruction in the Caribbean. That's what they are. We have to label them as weapons of mass destruction. And we now have to become like the US. Myself and people like the Grenadian ambassador have to become like the US, right? And metaphorically bomb them with truths. That's what we have to do. Anyway, come now, talk to me, Grenadian ambassador. Talk to me.
Yes, you're hearing me clearly, right?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say long, but it baffles me how some people the kind of mentality that they have,
Yes.
the perceptions that they have about the United States, that it can never be wrong.
Yes.
You know, the United States can never be wrong. And most of the times, these people are elderly folks behind the keyboard.
Well, a lot of people,
You know,
a lot of people are.
and come on, come on the line.
Mhm.
You know, make your point known. Let's discuss the matter as you are commenting on the line, but you're
But
not
that's
talking.
what
So
that's what I want them to do. That's what I want them to do. Come on the live, talk to me like how you are here. Don't just put your foot.
exactly.
Don't just
So
put your hand on a
step
keyboard.
then,
Put your hand on a keyboard and talk and type in rubbish. Come and talk. Come and talk.
exactly.
Can't do
Step
that. They
then
can't do that. They can't do that.
after 718. I don't know. I don't know if you guys. You know, I don't know who are you guys, but come on, come. Let's hear your thoughts on the matter. So my brother, take it.
Yeah, they can't go with people. They can't go with people like me. They can't go with people like me. Those are trolls, and if I'm not showing, they could just simply be computer bots talking there. They don't have to be real people. It could just be bots that are programmed to
Yeah, maybe.
react to what you say, because they're bots like that. They can do it. They can listen. Bots, they're
Yeah,
trained to listen, and they actually can type back something based on what you are saying. So they could be bots, right? They could be bots.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah. A lot of them. These are people. You know, I don't know, La La Land. They don't want to face reality. They don't want to get out of this bubble that they are in. It's
Yeah,
sad. It's
yeah,
very
yeah,
sad.
yeah,
But
yeah,
my
yeah.
brother, continue doing what you do.
Yeah. Now somebody
Right.
says to me here, but true, but we had Caribbean people who lost their lives in 9/11 attack. So we need to be a little more respectful about that situation. No, let me address that. You see, we do have people that lost their lives from the Caribbean in 9/11, right? We do. St. Vincent had
Yeah,
one individual who walking in one of the towers who lost their life, the only individual from St. Vincent. As a matter of fact,
yeah,
the only newspaper in St. Vincent that recognizes the loss of his life every year is the newspaper that I run. Everybody has forgotten about that gentleman. The only paper every year that remembered that gentleman and his name and pay homage to him is the newspaper I operate. The only newspaper.
yeah.
As a matter of fact, his mother would call me every year and said, "Thank you very much for
Well,
remembering."
just 1 minute. Just 1 minute on it. So some people are saying I'm echoing.
Yeah, you're
I'm
gonna
not too
have
sure.
to.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, you're gonna have to. I think you have an echo someplace there. I'm not sure why, but you have an echo.
Okay.
You do have an echo. You do have an echo. You do have an echo.
Yeah. Let
Yeah,
me see
yeah,
how I
yeah.
could.
You do have an echo there. You have an echo right there. I'm not sure what's causing the
I'm,
echo.
I'm still.
No, you sound better now. Sound better now.
Okay.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, right? If you're going to tell me that we have to have some respect for people who lost their lives there, one of the first things you have to ask yourself is what created or who created 9/11? Because they had a trial on Capitol, they had a hearing in the Congress in the US. They had a hearing to determine
Yeah.
what really happened in 9/11. Do you know that the Congress actually came out saying, look, we have people right in the United States who would have aligned themselves with people, brought people into the United States of America to fly those planes into those buildings? A lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
you see, a lot of things came out in the hearing, but what is wrong with a lot of people, right? Let me tell you something about a lot of people. A lot of people don't read. They don't follow anything. They follow a little script and a little
Yeah.
1 second video on Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah.
So they hear
Yeah.
there was a bombing in the US, a plane flying into a building. The narrative is these are terrorists from another side of the world. It stops there for them. Nobody goes back after to listen to all of the arguments, the congressional hearings, the debates on why it took place, who was involved in them. So the only narrative a lot of people know, the only narrative, right, that a lot of people know is that a few men came from the Middle East, flew some planes into a tower and brought them down. And Bush said, "Let us bomb Iraq." That's all some people know. They don't know anything else. If you ask them
Yeah.
what transpired in the hearings, who are the people found guilty, who brought them to the United States, who was their accomplice in the US, why they did it, and who benefited from all that happened, they can't tell you nothing.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And that is the
Yeah, that's the
problem we're
problem. And
facing. That is the problem we're
I
facing.
agree with. I think someone commented about the mainstream media is frying a lot of our brains,
Mhm.
with misguided information, and I think that is what is happening with Office 718 and said they are misguided
Yeah,
by
you
the
have a
mainstream media
you have
headlines.
a
They don't do.
yeah, you have a I think I'm not sure if it's do you have a speaker on? You're hearing back yourself? Like you have a head you're using a head you're
No,
not using a headphone. You probably need to use a headphone because
I do
yeah.
have a headphone. Should I use it?
Yeah, you should use a headphone because you should use your headphone. Use your headphone. Use your headphone.
Yeah, because I don't have any other device on, so I'm not too sure why. So
Yeah.
I hope that solve the problem. If it don't solve the problem, I may have to leave it.
Yeah. You should use the right. Use your headphone. I think that would be better. Yeah, go ahead.
You hear me properly now?
Yeah, that should work. That should work. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, I have,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've still got that echo.
No, because if you're here, if you're listening back to yourself, you would get something like that.
Well,
But
yeah, the only thing I have is like
yeah,
I don't have any other device like this thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
I never got that from you. I never got that from you before. I never got that from you before. Um,
yeah, I don't know.
if the headphones are capable, if the headphones are being used as a microphone as well, because some headphones can be used as as a microphone, you will get a feedback. Um, yeah. Go ahead. Well, let me see.
Um, all right, what I will do, if
Go ahead. Go ahead. You go
let
ahead.
me exit and then come
Do
back in
that.
and see that
Do
solve the
that. Do
problem.
that. Do that. Do that. Do that. Do that. All right. Right. So we'll wait until our good brother comes back. But let's continue what's happening here. So let's get into the other issue that's taking place. Well, the other thing that's happening is that we have this issue now where the GOP in the US, which is the Republican Party, um, blocked a bill or that was being put forward so that they could limit the president's war powers or ensure that if he needs to go to war, he must come to Congress, especially with the strikes he's planning for Venezuela, the land strikes. The Republicans have blocked that bill. So basically, leaving Trump carte blanche to do whatever he wants to. That is a serious problem again. So, right now, what we're looking at in the United States of America, and I keep saying this all the time, it's not really a democracy. What we're edging closer to is a dictatorship where people can just go and override your own constitution and your own laws and go into a sovereign nation without the approval of Congress. He says he doesn't need congressional approval to do such. Congress is saying, yes, he does need our approval to go and initiate land strikes in Venezuela. It doesn't matter if he's going after terrorist groups or drug cartels. He needs congressional approval to strike inside of another country using the American military. He says he doesn't. And so the Republicans have blocked that bill that would have limited him or stopped him from doing that unless he has congressional approval. People talk about Marxists and communists and people socialists out here. Take a look at America right now and tell me what it is. Go right ahead.
Yeah,
Sound much better. Go right ahead.
yeah. Well, let me just say this because I'm Finnish, so we may have to up anything, but I just want to say that quickly. Yeah, I think what we are seeing here is the Monroe Doctrine, being evoked all over again. Um, that is what Trump, I think, is governing. especially the military, U.S. military by. And I just want to lastly say this, as before I got cut off, or the internet started giving me trouble. We need to do deeper research, as you said, Honesto, because there's a lot of this happening. There's a lot of information that is being overlooked. If you want, a lot of information, it's there, but because of the distraction, somebody talked about distraction, but because of the distraction of the mainstream media, um, they wanting us to pay attention of the things that they want us to pay attention to. We overlook certain things and we don't do our research. As you said, during the 9/11, a lot of things happened. Apart from what the mainstream media said, a lot of things happened that led up to that. A lot congressional hearings, and if you go research, you see information that sometimes when I go research, I am baffled. It's like, wow, I didn't see that. I didn't know that. So my advice to people like Otto 718 and Trev Den, I would say, frankly, you guys are misguided. Um, I respect your opinion, but you are misguided. You need to do some deeper research when it comes to U.S. soldiers, Caribbean soldiers going and give their lives, and because we are free in the Caribbean, that's utter nonsense. The history does not align to what you are saying. Um, so do some deeper research and do not pay too much attention you know, on mainstream media headlines, because I used to have that kind of, when I just started out as a YouTube reactor, I used to pay a lot of attention on mainstream media headlines, and I recognize, it. I am misguiding myself and I'm misguiding my audience, and I took up upon my responsibility to do research. You have to research certain things before you talk about it. Certain things happen worldwide and I don't choose to talk about it because when I recognize I don't have a deeper knowledge of the matter of the topic, I leave it to people like you, Onisto, to handle that. Or sometimes I log in to hear what you have to say about it, because I don't have enough information. Because when you go talk about things and you don't have enough information, you will misguide people, and information is now a very, very how to say, precious commodity. Information. And as much as we have information right now, take advantage of it, because the time is coming and it's soon here. We're going to struggle for information. And the good book says, my people perish for the what? The lack of knowledge, right? The lack of
Correct.
information.
Correct on that. Correct on that.
And I believe, I'm a believer in the Most High God, and I believe the Most High God have people like you, Onisto, to help us with things that is being hidden from us. Some of us can't even really get access to. So my message to the viewers, please do your research. Yes, you may listen to Onisto, you may listen to other YouTubers, whoever you listen to. You may listen to my channel. I more highlight and stuff. Sometimes when people want to get deeper knowledge on things, I recommend them. I said, go to Onisto, listen to what he has to say. Because I am more the one that highlights. But so that is my advice. That is my advice to Otto 718 and Trevden. I respect your opinion. I respect your comments, but these comments I'm seeing in the comment section below and by other people, it's just misguided. Do some research, and then you can come. The live stream is open. Come and share what you have discovered. Challenge. It's good to have like a debate. Debates are healthy sometimes. So debate the topic, so we could get people could get a better understanding of things. So my brother, take care. I have to leave, so you take care.
Okay. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate as always. All right. We talk. All right. Yeah. Good. So there you have it. Thanks, buddy. I want to bring the attention of some people, or at least more Caribbean brothers here, that we're heading into a period of drought, according to the Caribbean climate outlook. They're saying that, well, they issued a critical forecast actually Wednesday for several Caribbean nations. They're saying that countries like St. Vincent would face long-term drought conditions in the coming months. According to the latest report, they're saying that severe short-term drought has already developed throughout the Windward Islands, which is Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Dominica, affecting regions including Aruba. So if you're living in Aruba, parts of the Dominican Republic and Guadeloupe, they're saying as well that drought would be affecting those countries as well, short-term drought. But in places like St. Vincent, the southwest Dominica. So if you're living in Dominica, the southwest of Dominica, northern Jamaica, which is hit by hurricane already, parts of northern Guyana and St. Croix are areas of significant concern, basically, for what they call long-term drought. Also, they're saying that the analysis is indicating that there's a notable shift in the regional climate patterns, and there's going to be a decrease in tropical cyclone because, as you know, our hurricane season, as they call it, the hurricane season is getting wind down, as they call it, the end of November. But sometimes you have storms all the way in December, based on how everything has gone. So there's been a reduction, they said. But what they're also saying is that excessively hot and humid days, right? There'll be a decrease, tropical cyclone activity, reduction in excessively hot and humid days, and transition into dry and cool season conditions. So that's something that we'll be facing. They're also pointing out that despite a drought forecast, they're saying that we're expecting to still have some high intensity rainfall in between for specific islands. So even with the drought conditions, they're saying in between, we're going to have some very high intensity rainfall, even within the drought period. And for places like the ABC Islands, if you're living like in Aruba and places like there, Belize, the Lesser Antilles, the conditions could potentially lead to what they call high flooding potential, flash flood, and all that kind of stuff. So even with the dry season coming up, or the end of the rainy season, as they call it, you're still gonna have some problem. All right. So that's what they call it. They call it climate change. That's what they call it. But time and season has changed, have changed, and all that is happening is expected to happen. Someone had mentioned to me if I'm going to talk about Project 2025 at any time. Yeah, I have to do a whole program on that. Everything is being played out with that right now. All that is part of the, you know, and I have to talk about that sometime. um they call it climate change. I don't call it climate change. All this is time and season have changed, not climate change. It has to happen. Some people don't want to face reality. You see, people make up nice things to keep people comforted. That's what they do. They make up nice things to keep people comforted. I don't do that. You get it right here. You get it right here. No political correctness on this one. Very sorry about that. Yeah, but anyway, so I'm gonna leave you guys now. Thanks for joining the program this morning. Today's Friday, it's the weekend. On the weekends, I throw down all my phones, my computers, dash them out. As the people say, open to dash them away. I don't want to see them. I listen to nothing. I give time to family members. I give time to the Most High. I ask for wisdom and understanding. I don't get occupied with foolishness on the weekend. I dump it, absolutely dump it. And I advise a lot of people to do it, to cleanse your mind from the toxic things that we take in during the week, and to refresh your memories and your whole body. That's a detox you'll be doing. Do a detox. Do a detox on the weekend. So that's what I do. You see, when I leave right here now, when I leave this, by the time you see around 1 o'clock, uh, 2 o'clock, and all that thing, I just dump it. I dump it. I dump it. I dump it. Right? I dump it. I dump it. I dump internet completely. Right? I dump internet completely at 1 o'clock on a Friday evening. I have nothing to do with the phone. I lock it off. Remove all apps, put them in silent mood, throw them off my phone, put the phone down, turn it off, computer off. All these things. I detox my mind from all of these things when a weekend come. I rest my brain. I do that. And I advise a lot of you to do that too. All right? I advise a lot of you to do that too. Until Monday morning, if there's anything that, comes on over the weekend, if we have an outburst of some crazy man in some place planning to launch an attack anywhere, and a lot of people who not using their minds properly decide to give weight to them, I will come back on and talk about it. But outside of that, that's it. That's it. Dump this thing on a weekend. So have a good day. Take it easy. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday. As always, people without knowledge will perish. People without knowledge will perish. And those who have ears to hear, let them hear. And those who have eyes to see, let them see. Shabbat Shalom.